I suspect most husbands and wives find that they often have arguments.
But we don't.
No.
While Prince Charles and Princess Diana attempted to keep their picture-perfect appearances with the public, their marriage was crumbling behind the scenes. It seemed like there was no way out for Diana, despite all her attempts to cry out for help.
And I had so many people watching me, and the pressure was enormous.
From not-so-secret affairs to scandals that shook the royal family to its core, we're going to share how this relationship took a dark turn for the worse. Believe it or not, Diana was only 16 years old when she first met Charles in 1997. They didn't start dating until 3 years later, when they were reintroduced at a mutual friend's home in Sussex.
He's just broken up with his girlfriend, that has just been killed. Oh, so it'd be nice to see him.
Diana said on a tape used in the documentary, Diana in her own words. By September 1980, the press was already beginning to follow close at Diana's feet. There had been rumors that an engagement was looming between her and Charles, despite the fact that they had only been on 12 dates.
In my position, you're going to marry somebody who perhaps one day is going to become queen. And you've got to choose somebody very carefully, I think.
It was alleged that his father, Prince Philip, had told his son that he needed to propose to Diane or to stop seeing her. So at the beginning of 1980, Charles, then 32, and Diana, just 19 years old, announced their engagement to the world and posed outside Buckingham Palace. Just 1 month later, during Diana's first public appearance with Prince Charles, the press nicknamed her Daring Di, since she wore a black strapless gown that was quite different from what the public was used to seeing from the royal family.
Because there's far too much about me in the newspapers, far too much. Horrifies me.
The following year, as the wedding bells drew nearer, Diana grew concerned about the relationship between her future husband and his ex-lover Camilla Parker Bowles. Charles and Camilla had previously dated in 1970 but broke up when he left for the Royal Navy a year later. Much to Charles' dismay, when he returned home, Camilla was engaged to another British Army officer, and they married a few years later. However, Charles and Camilla remained close friends despite their breakup, and it seemed that their friendship was getting far too close for comfort.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
According to the biography, Diana, her true story in her own words. The prince had presented Camilla with a gift before his wedding, and this put Diana on edge. She was beginning to question the supposed friendship between the two exes, which only led her to doubt her own engagement. Diana eventually confided in her sisters that she wanted to call off the wedding. Unfortunately, her sisters urged her to go through with it, telling her it was too late to back out of a royal marriage. On July 29th of 1981, Charles and Diana were married at St. Paul's Cathedral, and she officially became Diana, Princess of Wales.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
The wedding was broadcast internationally, and millions of people from all over the world tuned in to watch the couple say their I do's. It seemed like a perfect union, and Diana could not have been happier at that very moment. I remember being so in love with my husband that I couldn't take my eyes off him. I just absolutely thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. He was going to look after me. Well, was I wrong in that assumption? Diana shared in an exclusive interview years later. However, she also added that she never believed she was truly happy, and looking back at that day, she believed that it was the worst day of her life. I felt I was a lamb to the slaughter, and I knew it. The newlyweds set off for their honeymoon cruise around the Mediterranean, but the bliss of their union was short-lived when Princess Diana discovered cufflinks given to her new husband. As soon as she saw the engraving on them, she knew exactly who the gift was from. 2 C's entwined like the Chanel C. Got it. So I said, Camilla gave you those, didn't she? He said, yes, so what's wrong? They're a present from a friend. And boy, did we have a row. Jealousy, total jealousy. Diana knew very well that the cufflinks weren't just a present from her friend, but a long-lost lover. She had no doubt in her mind that Camilla and Charles still had feelings for each other, but it was too late. She and the prince were now married, and there was nothing more she could do about it. A few months later at an official event, the princess was caught falling asleep in her chair. As it turned out, the very next day, Buckingham Palace announced that Diana was pregnant with her and Prince Charles's first child. A few months into her pregnancy, it was reported that Diana threw herself down the stairs in a desperate attempt for Charles to listen to her. A year after their wedding, the princess gave birth to her and Charles's first son, Prince William. A few months later, the new family arrived in Australia for the couple's first official royal tour, and it was a huge success, thanks to Diana.
The reaction has been literally fantastic, and I've never seen so many people around and such friendliness. And
when Prince William was born, she was the first royal mother to insist on bringing her baby on a royal tour. While Prince Charles was initially intended to be the star of the tour, it was Princess Diana's charm, warmth, and image as a doting mother that truly won over the people of Australia. The princess was always eager to meet with people of all ages and backgrounds while traveling and refused to wear gloves when meeting people, which was typically customary for royals. Towards the end of 1983, the palace announced that Charles and Diana were expecting their second child. Unfortunately, a week later, Diana suffered a miscarriage while on vacation in Balmoral. Then, another big surprise came at the beginning of 1984. The palace announced that Prince William would soon have a sibling. Princess Diana was pregnant again, and the baby was due in mid-September. It was alleged that Diana kept the truth that she was carrying a boy from Charles, who was reportedly hoping for a girl. After Diana gave birth to her and Charles's second child, Prince Harry, apparently Charles said, "Oh God, it's a boy," and he's even got red hair when he saw his newborn son. The pair were often photographed together, smiling with their two children. The royal family presented a united front, and Diana was praised as a hands-on, affectionate mother. The public could not have been more in love with her. Unfortunately, that was not the case with Charles, and he had also reportedly rekindled his romantic relationship with Camilla. As it turned out, Camilla's husband also knew about the affair and did little to stop it. Despite the smiles she put on for the public, inside, Diana was in a downward spiral. The princess's mental health was suffering, and the marital troubles didn't make things any easier. "I was crying out for help, but giving the wrong signals. They decided that was the problem. Diana was unstable," Diana shared. Despite the troubles in her marriage, Diana continued to break royal protocol as a mother and strive to give her sons as normal of a childhood as possible. She wasn't going to let royal rules prevent her from being the best mother she could be for her sons. In 1985, Barry Manicky was assigned as a bodyguard to the princess. However, 2 years later, Barry was transferred to another role due to rumors that the two were having an affair. This only ignited rumors that trouble between the royal couple was brewing, and they were impossible to ignore. According to private recordings, Diana apparently referred to her married bodyguard as the greatest love of her life, and that she would have been quite happy to give all this up and just go off and live with him. Months after being transferred, Manicky was killed in a motorcycle accident. Diana was heartbroken by the loss and furious that her own husband was allowed to continue his affair with Camilla. Princess Diana finally decided to confront Camilla about the affair with her husband at her sister's birthday party. According to the recordings, Diana went downstairs where she found her husband speaking with Camilla and another friend. After her husband and the friend left the room, Diana told Camilla exactly how she felt. "I was terrified of her. I said, I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that," Diana recalled on tape for her biography. She said to me, "You've got everything you've ever wanted. All the men in the world fall in love with you, and you've got 2 beautiful children. What more do you want?" So I said, "I want my husband." And I said, "I'm sorry I'm in the way, and it must be hell for both of you. But I do know what's going on. Don't treat me like an idiot." Finally, the affair between Prince Charles and Camilla was brought to the public after his phone was tapped by the press and his late-night phone calls with Camilla were recorded. The result was the royal scandal known as Camillagate, and this sent the world into a frenzy. The call was scandalous and sexual in nature, with Prince Charles reportedly joking that he would like to be transformed into a pair of Camilla's knickers or a tampon.
A pair of knickers. I think you're going to come back as a pair of knickers. God forbid a tampon.
"I'll just live inside your trousers or something," he said. It would be much easier. A month later, Charles and Diana separated, although they continued to carry out their royal duties apart from each other. In 1992, tapes leaked of Diana's conversations with a close friend, James Gilby, where she called her life with Charles real torture. After 15 years of marriage, their divorce was made official in 1996. Diana gave up the title Her Royal Highness, but kept her royal apartment and the title Princess of Wales. She was finally free from the burden she had carried for so long. Unfortunately, her freedom did not last very long. Just a year after the divorce, Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed were involved in a car crash that killed both of them and the driver in Paris, France. The princess was only 36 years old when she died due to injuries sustained in the crash at a French hospital a few hours later. Following her death, Prince Charles traveled to Paris to bring her body back to England. He had initially planned to announce his official relationship to Camilla, but decided to put it on hold. There was an immense public outpouring of grief for Diana, the people's princess, following her death. Millions of people took part in the service from all over the world, either watching it on TV or listening to it on the radio. It was a loss that shook the world to its core, something so tragic that no one was able to make sense of. There's no doubt that Princess Diana's memory will live on forever, and she'll remain in our hearts as a daring woman and amazing mother who wanted nothing more than to be happy.